Welcome back to Matchday Minds, a home of football debates, big opinions, and the occasional outrageous take. If it's your first time watching, my name is Connor, and let's get into today's episode. Alright, let's talk about the international break. By the time this video uploads, England will have played their first friendly against Uruguay. Didn't watch it, so I'm not sure how it panned out. The only thing I've seen is some clips of Marcus Rashford absolutely cooking Valverde. But are international friendlies a waste of time, especially in the latter stage of the Premier League? Yes, in my opinion, they are. It disrupts it. It's very frustrating for teams like Arsenal, City, and United, especially this season, fighting for either Champions League qualification or, in this case, the title. It could potentially benefit uh, the lower teams, i.e., like the Wolves and Burnleys of the league, because they're fighting for the relegation, albeit Wolves confirmed. But it does give those guys a little bit of a break to potentially even some of the smaller nations get some minutes under their belt, really, like Wales, etc., and Ireland. It just slows things down. As I said, it's the latter stage of the season, the business end, as people tend to say, and it's just a big disruption. I mean, there's just news of Arsenal, like taking what 5 or 6 players out of their nations, like camps, and are they really injured or are they just doing it to save injury? I mean, I've seen news of Noni Madueke becoming injured as well, which doesn't really help Arsenal because Saka's hamstrings are cooked at the ripe age of 24. So his career could be finished by the time he is 25. But with England, is it really beneficial? I mean, it just gives the fringe players some minutes. I mean, Tommy Tuchel was named as 35-man squad. There wasn't really too many names or players that I was outraged of them being selected. Maybe John Stones being the only one. He hasn't really played too many minutes for City, but he was still selected. Was it for him just to get minutes? Was Pep Guardiola happy with him going? Like, because you see teams like the Arsenals, the Cities, they are playing about 50 to 60 games a season. Do they really need the added international friendlies, especially when their nation has qualified, i.e., England being the large one, France, Spain, etc.? They're all qualified for the summer competition. Do they really need to be played? Do they need to be called up? And I think the nation's representatives kind of need to consider this. If it's just friendlies, are they really going to be learning too much about how you want them to play in the World Cup over the 2 week break that you get? No, I don't think they can really implement too much what they don't know in the 2 week span. So, in my opinion, utterly pointless. But for the fans of the international game, they are more invested in club level football more now than ever was. Myself, yes, I've seen England get to the latter stages of the majority of the most recent international cups, and it's just been pure disappointment. Whereas me supporting Manchester United, I can actually see the club I support lift the trophy even in our banter era. So is it are are people falling out of love with international football, or are they just too invested in a club level as they can see their club lift some sort of silverware? It's a question that I don't really have the answer for because maybe 2018 was the best time for England with the fans just absolutely buzzing. Everyone couldn't wait for the summer competition to come around, and now I just feel like there's just no hype. Everyone's just kind of negative about the World Cup in the US, which is quite disappointing, really, because it's probably England's better chances to win the trophy, and I just don't feel like anyone really cares. And it's just quite upsetting, really. But let me know what you think as well. Do you like the international breaks and international competitions, or are you just waiting and counting the days down for your club level to return? But while international break is on, and by the time this video may or may not come out, it is National League Day on Saturday, the 28th of March. So if you haven't already, or if you are willing to, please go and support a local side. As I said previously, this time of the international break is a really good platform for these non-league sides to get headlines and more viewage because people who don't really want to pay attention to the international teams, or if you are one of those fans that your nations aren't playing, then go support a local side. It's really beneficial for them. They get the ticket money, they get the viewership from all the headlines, and you never know. I made a TikTok on this. You might find a player that you will fall in love with in the lower leagues that may or may never make the Premier League side. It's football in its rawest form. There's no VAR. There's no over analyzing the performances, and there's just not millions of people on the pitches. You are front and center. You're very close to the subs bench and the managers. You're very close to the pitch as well. And I feel like it just makes me remind myself why I fell in love with football. It's just you are watching it. You're not there with millions and millions of people. It's kind of like it feels like a one-on-one type thing. And I feel like it's just a better community as well. When you have local people that you may know around your village, etc., all supporting one small team, and irrespective of the result, it's just a good day out. It's very close to us as well. You could probably find your local team maybe 20-minute walk away rather than spending hours and hours on public transport to go to a giant ass stadium just to get morally disappointed by the result. But you look at the content side of things as well. There's barely any people covering non-league. I mean, you get the odd news outlet, etc. But everybody just wants about everybody just wants to talk about the top six. But you never know. There's stories, there's drama that you could find in non-league. I mean, I saw a video just scrolling on Twitter today that Oxlade Chamberlain's brother plays non-league. I would have never have known that if it wasn't National League Day or non-league day. You will never find this stuff out. So yeah, if you've never gone to a non-league game and you are wanting to, just do a Google search on it. You can probably find very low leagues or slightly higher league teams to go find, and I just really urge you just to go just for once. You never know. Now, I did want to talk about a club that was near and dear to my heart and has been for many, many years, Manchester United. Now, I wanted to talk about who could be Manchester United's next full-time manager. Now, Michael Carrick is performing to a very decent standard, unlike what Ruben Amorim could offer. But the question is, should he really be United's next permanent manager? I've had debates with people, with friends, and I don't know. I feel like Michael Carrick should and could be Manchester United's number two with a higher or highly experienced manager, i.e. Luis Enrique or Nagelsmann, to take the helm. The only thing I have with Carrick is the pressure on it. Yes, he was a fantastic player, but when it comes to managerial, it's a completely different ball game. The club will be potentially fighting for four competitions next season. Yeah, you may laugh now, but you never know. There's FA Cup, Carabao Cup, potential Champions League, and you could even fight for a Premier League title. If United can go from 15th last season to potentially second this season, you never know what's going to happen. Leicester did it. But the new manager, do United go completely different and take Michael Carrick and just hope for Ole 2.0 or an Arteta kind of blueprint? Or do they go superstar again with Luis Enrique and Nagelsmann? There's a very big risk on this because you take Luis Enrique or Nagelsmann and it just ends up like Jose Mourinho, Van Gaal, etc., and just completely flop because they have different philosophies that they won't be able to implement, or the club's probably not willing to back them entirely again. So that's why the next appointment will be massive and crucial, and probably that's why I'm so hesitant on hiring Carrick because I just don't want it to fail. Because then it just puts United again in that same cycle that everyone hates. Hire a new first team manager who has credentials, sack him after a year with poor outcome. Maybe a trophy sprinkled Maybe a trophy sprinkled in. Do we really need that again? Now, who could be it? Who could be it? Now, I mentioned Nagelsmann, but I think Luis Enrique will probably be the name on everybody's lips this summer, with the potential of him leaving PSG. Do I think he has what it takes? Yes, obviously, but does he have what it takes to be a United manager? Um, I think I need to look at more data, really. I don't want to just say yes just because of what he's done at PSG and Barcelona. I mean, we've done it before. Van Gaal, Ten Hag, Jose Mourinho. They're just a few names. The issue that United face is that once one manager goes, the squad that's left over, the new manager has to deal with. And unfortunately, Manchester United are not a very good selling club, so they're just left with crud that they don't want, and it's just a ever so long cycle. and it's just very, very annoying. Now you take teams like Arsenal, who have the blueprint of sticking with a manager for a very long, extended period of time, even though it's not really gone anywhere, but they are fighting for the Premier League title, and I feel like United need to do this. Now, they did think they were going to do that with Ruben Amorim, but fortunately, he just really lost the dressing room at this point, and it was quite sad to see the state it went out in. So, the next United manager, will they be just a first team coach, or will they be a Sir Alex Ferguson type manager of the club? Stability is what United need for their next manager as well. Clear style of play. I know it's very vague to say this, but the manager does need to implement something straight away. Teams of past are very used to playing counter-attacking football. Is that what United still need to succeed? I mean, a lot of teams nowadays are playing the low block, so you can't really kind of counter when they're just completely defensive. But performances as of this season have shown that it does work, or is it just a fluke completely? It's hard to tell. But whoever is in charge of Manchester United next season, there are some key positions that need fulfilling probably early on. Unfortunately, Manchester United are not a club that can do transfers very quickly. And honestly, it's one thing that probably pisses me off the most because you get linked with players all summer and they still wait till the latter end of the window to even get it done. I know that they don't want to overpay on it, but unfortunately, when it comes to a big club like United, you kind of do have to just pay. But you have to be smart with it. You don't want to overpay, but you need to pay what their market value is worth. If you do get a bargain, fantastic. But sometimes it doesn't always work that way, but you need to get these signings in straight away. I.e., like the Embuemo situation last season took way too long, but I'm glad the club has him. But let's go down to the positions that I think need fulfilling. The main ones are the fullbacks. Unfortunately, Luke Shaw is past his sell by date, and Dallo has not got the quality to be a starting Manchester United right back. So, who do I think we should get in? Very easy. Lewis Hall, Livramento. But to be honest, I think all the positions that I think Manchester United could fulfill would be all from Newcastle United. Lewis Hall, Livramento. We need two midfielders, minimum. Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali. And I think United need a left winger. Gordon, Barnes. But Newcastle will not sell all of those players to United at all. I don't think they will probably sell more than three, so just take the fullbacks. I think Marcus Rashford needs to come back to the club. There, I said it. I still think he has got a lot of juice left in the tank to make it at Manchester United and be a club legend. He's had some time away from the club, which I feel like he needed. He's played for Aston Villa, performed very well for the small amount of time he was there. But his time at Barcelona, people have really realised what this guy can do. And I do think even him playing as a bench player at Barcelona has been one of their best attackers. And I do feel like Michael Carrick needs to get his hands back on him. Reports are saying that Barcelona are not willing to pay the 30 million. So I just say, hey, just come back. Be the guy. Take that number 7 off Mason Mount's back. Get your boots on and let's crack on and win the Premier League. But the midfielders are probably the key point that needs addressing because I feel like it's a very repetitive summer for Manchester United. Every single season, they get their attackers, they get their defenders, but the midfield is always the weak point. Adam Wharton, Elliot Anderson, who else is linked? The Brunos, the Tonalis, etc. They're all players that could benefit next to Kobe next season. All right, I'm going to wrap this episode up here. I feel like we have gone through a lot. International breaks, yes, no, let me know down in the comments. If you haven't already, make sure you follow a non-league team this weekend. Manchester United, who's going to be their next manager? All those are talking points I want you guys to drop down below. If you've liked today's episode and you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you are listening on any audio platform, can you please make sure you leave a 5-star rating? Also, if you can make sure you follow any social media down in the description below as well, that'd be very appreciative. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Ciao.